Hi, hello, this is Clementine from At Books with Clementine. And today I'm doing another book tag. This is the 20 questions book tag. I don't know who the original creator of this book tag is. It's been going around for years. I've seen also a couple different versions, I think, for questions, mostly for the 20th, I would say. But it's way too hot here, and it's already 5 p.m., so it's way hotter than it was earlier this morning. So I need to film this now, and I need to try and do it quick before I melt. So let's go. Quick, fast edition. Number 1, how many books is too many books in a series? I guess it depends. I would say I've read some mystery series. I remember one, I think it's A Mystery in Time, something in time. A lot of the book titles have the in time in there. A Murder in Time, I think, is the first one. I'll pop the cover of the first one on the screen. But I remember reading 2 or 3 books in that series. I'm not going to go into the synopsis or anything, but I think the mystery elements were always kind of the same, so it was not super interesting, and the people, not a lot happened to them. So I was bored after 3 books, and I DNF'd the series for that point. But you have, on the other hand, another mystery series. I'm taking Veronica Speedwell by Deanna Rayburn. I forget the name of the first book, but I'll pop the cover on the screen. I have read 2 books currently, but I would say that I'm a lot more interested in continuing this series because the mysteries have been different so far, and also the characters have a lot more happening to them compared to the other series I was talking about. So I think even in a genre, it really depends. But I would say for a lot of series, past book 6 or, whereabouts, it can start to be repetitive and very boring in some parts. I've not read a lot of series that are this long, I admit. But as an example, I can definitely say Blood Grace by Vila Roth. The first book being Blood Mercy. And while I really love the series overall, the romance, the characters, I think it's just starting to be really too long for me, and I would like to see the end. But also, I've read 7 books out of the 8 books that are out so far. There's supposed to be 10 books. I'm committed now. I need to know the end. So, I have a tumultuous relationship with that. But let's try and be more concise with the other questions. Otherwise, we'll still be here tomorrow. Number 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Same, it depends. I would say I have a problem if every chapter you end on is a cliffhanger, meaning you don't end at the end of a scene. You end in the middle of a scene to make the reader want to continue every single time. I don't have a problem if you do it every few times per book. But if you do rely on it that heavily for people to continue the book, it might piss me off, especially if the reveals after those cliffhangers are not powerful. And I will be a lot more pissed if you do a cliffhanger at the end of the book. I wait a year to read the next book, and then the reveal for the next book is just, that was it? I'm gonna be pissed about that, for sure, because I love to complain. And I will complain if I hated the reveal to the cliffhanger. For a series, I think From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the end of every single book has a cliffhanger, but a stupid cliffhanger that could be removed, simply because the author just relies on cutting off at the middle of the end scene just so she can do all the reveals in the next book. And then nothing happens for 3/4 of a book until you have the next cliffhanger or so. I'm simplifying, but it felt like it. So at book 3, I also tapped out because I was so mad at those cliffhangers done this way. But I think a good cliffhanger can do wonders. If the reveal is executed really well and really wows you, then it's worth it. Number 3, hardback or paperback? I would say, in general, hardbacks, because they're more durable for me, but I love a good floppy paperback. If it's a stiff paperback, then I'm gonna hate it. But a floppy paperback, I might be swayed, and I have some on my shelves that I really love that way. But hardback for durability, for sure. Number 4, favorite book. I have a lot of favorite books, but if you had to twist my arm and ask me one only, then I would say The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, because I think I would be capable of rereading this every other day. Whenever I have a bad day, I would want to read this book. Number 5, least favorite book. Oh, that's hard. But I will go with a French classic for this one, and I will go with Eugénie Grandet by Flaubert. I believe it is Flaubert. All of the book was useless. You're following Eugénie, who's basically waiting for a whole book for her cousin to come back. She's in love with her cousin. That's the first problem. Of course, in modern times, we see this and we're like, ick. But trying to pass the ick of it all. She sees her cousin, I think once or something, and then she's instantly enamored with him. She gives him essentially her dowry inheritance because he's fallen on hard times and he needs the money, and then he'll come back and marry her. And then he never comes back because her cousin is a horrible human being. But the book revolves around her waiting for her cousin. I really had a hard time with that book, even years later. I think I read it probably 20 years ago. And I still remember being so bored and so mad at the main character with that one. So that's gonna be least favorite book. Number 6, love triangles, yes or no? Hard no, hard pass. You can see my whole video about book tropes I love and hate, which I'll leave in the description down below, but hard pass. 7, the most recent book you just couldn't finish. Oh. I fear that it is The Bear and the Nightingale. I'll put the cover on the screen. This is a very famous book, very well beloved. I just couldn't do it. I read 80 pages and it just seemed to be a historical drama at that point, just following this family, and I just couldn't do it. Also, the writing was a bit descriptive for me. I didn't care about anyone after 80 plus pages, which was nearly 30% of that small book. I was not enjoying the writing style too much. I just DNF'd it. A book you're currently reading. Because I'm me, I cannot read just one book, so I have 3 books currently reading. I just started King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, which is a book I should have read years ago, and I'm happy I'm finally making progress on it. The second one I'm reading, I'm finally actually getting back into it because I've started it months ago. I put it down because it's a buddy read and we didn't have time. Picking it back up, Our Lady of Blades by Sébastien de Castell. I'm loving this book. I'm in the final 25%, and I cannot wait to be emotionally devastated because I know I will be. And the third and final book I'm reading is Thrice Married to a Salted Fish, Volume 2 by BKB. And I'm having fun with that one too. 9, the last book you recommended to someone. Actually, the last book I recommended was The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson because so far, this is my favorite book of 2026, so of course I'm gonna shout it at the rooftops at everyone who hasn't read it. Also because I believe this is a fantasy that a lot of people could actually really enjoy. I really enjoyed all the reveals, all the twists, the tropes that are a little bit put on their heads. I really, really love this book. 10, oldest book you've read by publication date. I guess I should have been prepared, but I wasn't. So I need to search on Goodreads and check the read books I have by publication date, I assume, and see. I would assume it's one of the Roman classics that I have read for my class in Latin. Also, brain fart moment, but Eugénie Grandet, which I was talking about before, is not by Flaubert. It's by Honoré de Balzac. So, yeah, that is not helpful. Because that's publication year of the editions, not of the books. So that's bad. This is not working with Goodreads. So let me just bring back the classics that I still have in my other bookcase in the dining room that I read during school in French, and I'll bring you back the oldest. Okay, so I don't have as many books from my school years as I thought, just because I donated a bunch of them. Because I know also these editions are really used for schools a lot, because they do have a lot of commentary on them. But I do still have my edition of Virgile, l'Énéide, I don't remember in English how it's called. This is basically the recounting of the Battle of Troy and everything that happens after that. But I don't think I ever read everything of it. This is just a summary and like some extracts of it. But I also did in Latin some parts of it, which we translated, but also not all of it. So maybe I cannot count it. Otherwise, there would be nearly 2,000 years. But I can definitely say Molière is one that I've read a lot of his plays at school. Molière was born in 1622 and died in 1673. This one, Les Fourberies de Scapin, was written in 16... This one was written in 1671. I've definitely read Les Précieuses Ridicules, which is 1659, L'Avare 1668, Le Bourgeois Gentilhomme 1670. So I've also read Tartuffe and Don Juan 1665 also. So I would say, yeah, 1600s. I know I've also read some poetry from the 15th, 16th century, so the 1400s, 1500s, but not enough to say that I've read it, as it is in older French, and it's really a lot harder for us to read than the kind of more modern that is this kind of French from Molière. But yeah, I would say the plays by Molière are probably the oldest books I've really read. Then we have 11, newest book you've read by publication date. Hold on, I have it right here. I won't take a book I'm currently reading, but a book I recently read is Platform Decay by Myford Wells. I pre-ordered this book and it arrived, I think, a month ago. I think it came out maybe in May or June. So yeah, it's probably my latest publication date that I have read. Number 12, favorite author. Easy. TJ Klune, author of my favorite book. Number 13, buying books or borrowing books. I've definitely tried to be I've been trying to be a bit more conscious about buying books and not buying too many books or books I'm not sure I'm gonna love. But I really like buying books, I won't lie. And that's mostly because I like the feel of this physical book. And here, if I want to borrow books, especially books in English, it will be mostly digitally. Nowadays, I try to borrow books I'm not sure about, and if I love them, then I will purchase a copy. Just so that I can reread them if I feel like it also, because I do like to reread. Number 13, a book that you dislike that everyone else seems to love. For this, I will cite a whole series because I think books where I like the first one, for example, and then it goes downhill, maybe doesn't count as much because others might have had the same feeling. But I will cite the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin for this. The first book being The Fifth Season. This is a well-beloved series. Everyone also raves about the writing style, saying that this second-person POV is amazing, the reveal, breathtaking. It's had a lot of awards, and I was mostly pissed about the writing style. I thought this second-person narrative was just a way to keep us guessing. And I was mostly pissed at the author because it's just the writing style and the way she did this second-person POV that made it possible for her to keep us in the dark. And also it made no sense for it to keep us in the dark still, because even if you're in a second-person POV, you're still in the head of someone who writes it like you are the person writing this. So if you are the person, you should know everything that she knows, right? But you don't, because things are missing out on purpose, and things that really don't make sense. People that you meet and don't say anything, where you actually know things about them, but you don't say them. Doesn't make sense. Didn't for me. Anyway, I will stop because I'm trying to be fast, but let's continue. Number 15, bookmarks or dog ears. Bookmarks. Dog ears, what are you doing to your book? I'm getting really warm, so I'm trying not to also be too passionate about this. And I know these are your books and you can do whatever you want with them, but why dog ears when you can perfectly easily just use whatever you want that is flat to put inside your book. I think the problem with me with dog ears is not even that you're damaging your book, is that once you make the dog ear and try to remove it, it will still kind of stay there a little bit. So if you put too many dog ears, at some point, you might not even remember exactly where you were. The only reason being this is the last dog ear that you have in the book and you're going chronologically by page number, if you're not totally crazy, right, when you read a book. But what do you do if you reread a book, right? Do you put more dog ears, or that's a problem? So I guess dog ears only work if you only read books once. Let me know if you put dog ears in your books. How do you do when you reread then? Number 16, a book you can always reread. Well, for this, I will cite a classic that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I apologize for the very beat up edition I have that has the spine cracked. It has some highlights. You can see it's also in the middle of a reread because I wanted to actually highlight for once, and I ran out of time to do that, and I've read this book so many times that I actually don't really mind if I don't read everything in one go. I'm also one of those people that puts a book down and continues months after, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, I can definitely reread this book anytime. There are so many things in this book. It's so reductive to say that it's a romance to me. It's a social study. It's a commentary on the place of women in Jane Austen's time. And it's also a character study about pride and prejudice and how you actually made an accurate opinion about someone when the only thing you have to go off of is just whatever shell image people are projecting in social circles. And I think I just love this book. Or Persuasion, but I think Pride and Prejudice has a lot more social commentary just because of the sheer size of the book. Number 17, can you read while hearing music? Yes, I love hearing music, especially if I read a physical book. And I also love matching the type of music I'm listening to when I read a book. My favorite books, a lot of them, I have this visceral remembering of reading a book and matching it to a song or an album that I was listening to on repeat. I'm a very auditive person, so I just remember the sounds. I will say also that sometimes I just put some ambience music, so I have some fantasy ambience kind of playlist or romantic fantasy ambience for some romantasy. If I don't want to have lyrics to bother me because I'm really focusing on the book and I just want to have some background to put me more in the book's mood, atmosphere. You know, as I don't picture things when I read, it's really nice to have the music to put me more in the atmosphere of the book. When I don't picture where they are, I can still kind of figure myself inside of a book by hearing some sounds or things like that. Number 18, one or multiple POVs. I don't mind either of them. I would say I have a problem if there are too many POVs. If it starts to be 4+ POVs, I can start to have a lot of problems because I'm not emotionally invested in the characters enough, because we don't spend enough time with them. But if they're introduced really slowly as you go along the story, then it could work. I think I just mostly have a problem when there are too many, because it's usually more seeming like the author didn't want to put up with the effort to show you things from another person's POV, so they just added another POV because they didn't know how to do it. And it can be done because some people, you know, just do one POV. Or if the story you want to tell has too many POVs, it probably means that you should just do an omniscient POV, and that's fine to me too. 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? As I said before, I'm usually reading several books at a time. So most of the time, I'm reading over multiple days, or multiple weeks, or even multiple months. Case in point, again, Our Lady of Blades by Sébastien de Castell. I started this book in May, and we are at the end of July right now. So yes, obviously if I read a manga, I will more likely than not read it in one sitting. If it's a short novella, yeah, that too. But usually a book, I like to take my time with it, and I don't read fast. So over several days it is. And last question, number 20. A book you've read because of the cover. A book I've read because of the cover. Ooh. This one. I will definitely say that Voyage of the Damned by Frances White is one that interested me from the cover. After that, I did read a little bit of a synopsis, and it did sound interesting, but I mostly read it because of this gorgeous cover. And for the most part, I really enjoyed this book. I think more compared to the average. There's some mixed reviews about this book, but I enjoyed my time. And there you go. There you have it. This is the 20 questions book tag. As usual, I'm a yapper, so I was not as concise as I wanted for those 20 questions, so I don't even know how long this book tag is, and I'm sorry it took this long. If you want to answer one of those questions but have no clue which one, how about you answer me in the comments for this last question. What is a book that you have chosen mostly because of the cover and have actually enjoyed? Let me know. I'd love to know. And if you have nothing to say but still want to let me know that you were here, how about we leave a fish emoji in the comments? And with this, I'll stop rambling, get back to reading, and I'll see you in the next one.